Hi everyone, my name is Diamante. I am a psychotherapist and counselor practicing in Dublin, Ireland and online. Today I will talk about my experience of studying psychotherapy and counseling in Dublin Business School here in Dublin, Ireland. It's been now more or less a year and a half since I have graduated. The course is a 4-year course and the fee per year is around 5,000 euros. You can pay that 5,000 per year in a lump sum, or you can put it in the installments. Now, what I want to talk about is my own experience studying and my insights. So let's jump right into the topic. And when you start the degree, it's, everything is new. You're getting to know your fellow students. You are getting to know the lecturers, and most of the students are mature students, people who are already working full time, maybe in a different field or in similar field, and they are either wanting to change the field, or maybe it's somebody who didn't have opportunity to study earlier in life and they're now coming back to the education. So there was variety of people, and that's why it was really nice to study, because there were just this kind of widespread of people. That was great to mingle, to chat, to welcome people from different walks of life. Now, as you progress in the degree, you start realizing that degree is A, very busy, B, it's very expensive. What I mean by that is you're paying 5,000 euros for the year, but also there are some costs, such as throughout the whole duration of 4 years, you have to be in personal therapy. Personal therapy, for the reference, can cost something between 70 and maybe 120 euros per session. So your therapist will be asked to give a bit of a summary of amount of sessions that you have attended, just amount of sessions, that's all, because there are, so to speak, minimum requirements in terms of the session count. As you're now going through your assignments, many essays, and say everything goes well and you reach year 3 of your degree, of the degree that I went to, Psychotherapy and Counselling in Dublin Business School. And this video was not sponsored. This video is purely from my own interest of letting you, whether you're interested in studying the degree or maybe you are just doing a bit of research and you want to know. I want people to be able to have a bit of a genuine feedback from somebody who actually completed the degree. So as you come to year 3, this is where additional, extra and new line of work starts. Year 1 and 2, you've been doing assignments, you've been doing also group assignments with your fellow students. Now you will be entering the era of clinical placement. And clinical placement is something that you yourself will have to find. You will be provided with a list of psychotherapy and counseling practices across Dublin and outside as well, I believe. And you will need to create a bit of a CV, cover letter, and start applying to any psychotherapy and counseling practices that you would like to work at or volunteer as, because this work is completely unpaid, and it is a minimum of 120 client hours that you have to complete in year 3 and 4 of your psychotherapy and counseling degree here in Dublin, Ireland. So essentially that time can be a bit stressful, because obviously you're doing this for the very first time. If you don't have any connections, I didn't have any connections, you are sort of like, you're on your own. You are applying, and yeah, I got 3 or 4 interviews. I have been accepted in all the places, and I have chose the place that had the best hours. I was working full time, studying part time, so I could not do 10 a.m. on Tuesday seeing clients. I could not do 2 p.m. on Wednesday afternoon. I could only see clients evenings. And I have chosen that evening time, and I Worked with that one psychotherapy center throughout the whole duration of my 2 years, which is year 3 and 4 of the psychotherapy and counseling degree. So, as you're starting clinical placement, now the requirements are growing and you will need to get yourself a supervisor. And by that, I mean that you will have to find supervisor entirely by yourself. So I looked at the website of IECP. I have made a lot of supervisors, just sent emails, but not much came out of these emails. In fact, my first supervisor was not a good fit for me at all. We only had one session, and then I have 1 or 2 sessions, and I have found another supervisor that actually worked wonders, and I had wonderful experience. And that supervisor was basically a recommendation from a fellow student because she had such a positive experience, and I can tell you that I had exact same positive experience. So, and when you get graduated, you actually need to change your supervisor, and I have done that. And I also got recommended a supervisor. You have to look for those recommendations, you have to ask. Nothing is gonna be handed to you. So I am very happy with my supervisor yet again. Supervision costs, full stop. Supervision is expensive, and again, every supervisor is charging different kind of, sums. So please take that in consideration. You need to do 120 client hours, divide 120 by 5, and you'll see how many sessions you'll have to have with your supervisor, unless you need more sessions. Maybe you will need more sessions if you feel like you need extra support. I didn't need that. I didn't hear anyone who would do that. So it's probably standard to have that 1:5 ratio, meaning 5 client sessions to 1 session with your supervisor. So that's kind of that. Let's remember that the supervision is at your own time. Supervision session lasts an hour. You have to arrange it yourself. You have to arrange it with your supervisor. That's one. You will need to write thesis. Let me show you my thesis. One sec. Here we go. So the therapeutic relationship and additional trauma training when working with trauma was the subject of my thesis. I decided to print it off. It's not a requirement anymore, but I thought, come on, writing so much and not having it around, it's a bit kind of like, I don't know. Why not? Why not to read it? Why not to embrace it yet again? And even if you have your own therapy practice, I think it's very nice for the clients just to be able to have a look at it as well, or maybe even to bring home for a week or so if it's relevant, especially if somebody is, has joined therapy specifically in relation to trauma, and or if trauma is coming up. And that's in line with my own subject. I loved writing thesis, but it took a lot of time. You know what? Thesis, if you haven't written it yet or it's new to you, has a very specific, format. So say, for example, see the references here. All these have to be referenced in a very particular style, like Oxford or Harvard, different style. These are for example, this is Appendix 1 interview schedule. So these are interview questions. One of the questions was, what is your understanding of trauma, all that kind of stuff. And the point is that the work never really stops, There is always extras. You will have supervisor for your thesis. Some people clicked with their supervisors and found that supervisor-supervisee relationship very good. Some people didn't click with their supervisors and they didn't feel maybe that there was much of a support provided. Again, this is all very case by case, And long story short, that's just an insight. After every year, after 1, 2, 3, 4, after every year, you will have an interview. So you'll have to write a personal reflection about how you did over the year. There will be certain questions. Some of it is a free form. And then you will have an actual interview where you will sit down with, say, 2 people from your two professionals, two lecturers from your degree, and you will be essentially interviewed. And after that, sometime afterwards, you will be advised if they sign you off to go to the next year. Some people, for example, are advised to take a year, a gap year, and to come back to therapy, or sorry, to come back to the, maybe to engage with therapy more, do other things, and to come back stronger next year and come back to the degree, say next year. I had 3 or 4 examples like that. People came back afterwards, and people came back after several years. So this is like a broad insight into the degree. And I want you to know that you're more than welcome to comment down below, subscribe to my channel, hit the bell, get involved, get really like drive your own career. If you're changing career, if you want to become psychotherapist and counselor, I would be more than happy to have a consultation with you and to bring you through all of these ins and outs and go into everything in a much bigger detail. So thank you so much for watching. Once again, my name is Deimante. I'm a psychotherapist practicing here in Dublin, Ireland, and online, and I am available for new clients. If you're interested, look after yourselves, and I will chat to you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.